Welcome back. The GIFT Nifty is suggesting a quiet start, slightly lower, 16 points down. Asia too is mixed at the moment. You've got the Japanese markets and the Hong Kong market, that's Hang Seng, under pressure. But again, the cuts are not deep. But on the flip side, you've got Taiwan, Korea, Straits, which are holding up with a positive bias. The picture is mixed across Asia, and the GIFT Nifty is now down close to about 16 points. As promised, Prakash Diwan joins us early on a Monday morning. Prakash, good morning. Hope you had a restful weekend. So first, wanted to get your thoughts in on JSW Energy, because they've made a large acquisition of 12,500 crore, which cements its position in the renewable energy sector. And they're saying this is their largest acquisition since inception. So what have you made of this latest purchase?
Good morning, Rima. Thank you. So I think the acquisition definitely helps them get a significant leg up in scale. If you compare JSW Energy, that it was a late entrant into the organic growth of renewable portfolio, or the renewable portfolio, as compared to the earlier ones like Adani and all. And this makes it very meaningfully become a peer player in that segment. The acquisition is definitely very positive. They've not overpaid for it. And remember one thing, that companies like JSW, which have the balance sheet strength, if they were to kind of grow at this pace, if the market will like it, they will reinforce the confidence and the conviction that investors have in this portfolio. My sense is you'll probably see a slew of developments which will positively keep helping them scale up. And I'm waiting to hear the management on our channel soon. Essentially, people were worried about the pricing of the valuations. Now, what it does is it gives them scale and visibility for the next 3 years very clearly. And that could probably mitigate a bit of that concern which was there. So from that perspective, it's quite positive. Of course, in the short term, markets could kind of go anywhere, and this could also kind of not be rewarded as amply. But in the near medium term, I definitely feel this is very positive.
Okay. Point taken. Prakash, good morning. Thank you, as always, for joining us this early in what's a holiday weekend for everyone else. But let me give you a blank check question first. What are you buying at this juncture, if any?
So good morning, Lata. Thank you for the best wishes. Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult situation, to be honest, but I can simplify it by saying I want the next 20 days or 25 odd days till the new Trump administration starts coming into office and announcing what they want. Their intent gets clear, rather than all this guesstimates that are happening around the policy, and then things could be much more clear. And remember, we also have 1st February, which is going to be a very critical budget of sorts, though it's not the first budget of the term, but the first one. Really, last year's budget didn't really make such an impact because of the timing and the circumstances around it. But these two events is what I would like to see past, and then kind of look at buying. But very clearly, the India stories are the ones that you look at, and I'll give you some very clear indicators that are making us get excited about the buying opportunity in the next month and a half, 2 months. One, valuations are getting tempered for sure. It's the IPO market that's really heated up. But if you look at the secondary market, there are a lot of things which have started reaching slightly reasonable valuations. Second, crude is likely to kind of definitely be very, very clearly soft going forward probably for the whole year and beyond. Now, if a 20% dip in crude is something which you can pencil into the positivity for Indian stocks, Indian businesses, it's definitely an opportunity. And the third thing is, the dollar seems to be in a stage where it could get firmed up. I mean, USD yields are already 4.6, highs, which you didn't think would happen so soon. But my sense is that you'll probably see a lot of the export orientation in some of the sectors in India, which will do very well, provided they remain insulated from the policy framework which gets announced. So net, it's going to be a few IT names, it's going to be a few CapEx names focused onto exports, industrials. So it's going to be a mix. But right now, to be very fair, we're not buying anything. We've got a lot of things on the watch list, but we would wait for these events to. I mean, it's difficult to time markets, but here's an event which would make a big difference in terms of valuations. So
I take your point, it's a binary event. No, I take your point, it's a binary event. But, we just got as overnight, which we were discussing with Rima, Trump's statement backing H1B visa in
Yeah.
what I thought were no uncertain terms, saying that I have H1B guys on my premises, on my companies, and I think it's a damn good program. So maybe, the influence of Elon Musk and others, I mean, after all, even his strategist, Sriram, AI strategist
Vivek
is, Vivek Ramaswamy is in that, reducing the government program. There is a Sriram someone who is the AI expert whom he has appointed. So anyway, the point is this unadulterated backing of H1B visa. Does that move you to buy IT right away, or would you still wait for Jan 20th?
No, so as I said, IT is one of the key sectors that will grow because it does well, it's insulated, it does well because of the dollar firmness. And this whole, reversal in stance from Donald Trump as compared to his last stint, where he actually wasn't, sounding very favorable on the H1B program, is positive because AI is not going to develop within the US or anywhere else without good skilled manpower. And that is something which they would keep their doors open to. And my sense is companies that are focused on to servicing that segment in whichever way in the value chain, offshore, onshore, particularly now, of course, onshore, there will be a lot of benefits. So small companies, niche companies will definitely benefit. You could start looking at buying them. But yes, the binary event always comes at the back of the mind, to the fore of your mind, saying, you would rather wait for the next 3 weeks and then do it. But IT definitely seems very positive from here.
There was a 2024 new American Fortune 500 report which said 46% of the Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or children of immigrants. So, one of the superpowers of America is that they've had great talent. And that's...
Elon Musk is an example. He comes from South Africa.
He's an example of that.
Now almost making policy like a vice president. So, Prakash, I know you gave us your overall preferences and your reticence to buy anything before the Trump swearing in. But nevertheless, Pharma, I would think, is slightly not that affected. He hasn't gone after it, at least. Is Pharma, any Pharma stock a buy at all?
Oh, quite a few. That's one pocket
that's
probably
done well.
Yeah, that's done well, and it's likely to continue doing well. And look at how the tailwinds have been stacking up, Lata. You had, recently India was allowed to host the ICDRA, which is the conference for drug regulators authority globally. Now that very clearly tells you that the changes that have come about and the disposition that the USFDA has, the MHA has. All of that is pointing towards a very high expectation that India should contribute beyond that 20% to global generics. And my sense is with a lot of new drug discoveries that are in the pipeline, where Indian companies are working very actively, like nafithromycin, saliglutazar, there are these very funny sounding names which have huge potential. I would continue to believe the CDMO market is something which will thrive here at a faster clip than what we've seen, which is just about double digits. It could go to about 18-20% of growth rates going forward, and that is something which investors love. From that space, if you look at some of the companies like what Biocon has done with its arm, Syngene arm, Syngene could kind of start moving into a phase which is commercially very profitable. You could have some of the other larger names which could kind of benefit. You have a small new name like Akum, which is building up a portfolio. Look at how Mankind is changing. I mean, Pharma has got so much of choice actually. But yeah, you're right. That's a space we are very, very excited about. And a lot of bottom-up stock picking is also yielding results there, not just a macro top-down kind of a thing. But we'll definitely look at that to allocate much more than what we've done historically in the last few years.
Okay.
With Pharma and adding a bit of IT to it, if in one of the pink papers today in ET, the top headline reads, Blackstone, Carlyle and other PEs submit bids to unlock Access's majority stake. Now, Access is a healthcare BPO. So it provides services like medical billing, accounts receivable management to all the healthcare providers in the US. Now, this is a space, healthcare BPO, particularly catering to the United States, has become a hot space with a lot of interest. There have been two recent listings. One is IKS and the other one is Sagility, and both of them have had a blockbuster debut. For IKS, the issue price was 13.29. The stock is at 2,000 rupees. Sagility issue price was 30. After a quiet start, it's now at 50 rupees. So Prakash, come in, because there's so much PE interest and now even public interest in this space. Healthcare BPO.
So I don't know if you recall the day Sagility got listed, we spoke about it, maybe a day later, 32 odd bucks. And I still feel it's got the right pedigree. It's got the right spread. It covers much more than what an Access does in that sense, in terms of coverage on credit card issuers, hospitals, medical insurers. So this is something which I think has a growth rate which is going to be phenomenal. And with the new administration, this is one area that they would really need to nurture and grow, because the last two presidencies haven't really done much in terms of spending on this or rationalizing the spends on this. So the role will definitely be much more important. You will expect very good contract wins and margin growth, if not just maintenance. I would believe IKS is more of a low float impact that you have on the stock price, but Sagility is well discovered, but probably has much more legs to go in the next couple of years from here. So definitely top pick in this space, Rima, continues to be still very strong.
Prakash, to come back to you, you spoke with some enthusiasm about healthcare companies with the tech backdrop. Likewise for finance, right? Paytm, we must pull up a 1 year of Paytm, or just the year, 2024. This year it's one of the top performers with 60% gain in the year. Prakash, any thoughts? I mean, they seem to have got their game back with the voice box.
No, so, actually, this is a miss from my side. I missed on the turnaround on its way up, when things were getting, when they were on a mend. But, this voice box thing is something which they had launched and was likely to be a very good revenue stream for them. But we underestimated the pace at which it kind of, substituted all other solutions in that market. But the core business continues to still be a bit befuddled in that sense. We're not too sure of how it's likely to shape up unless there's an acquisition that sorts out a lot of the issues. But it's been a miss. Buying at 1,000 plus levels, the risk reward might not be as favorable. I mean, do I expect it to go to 2,000 in the next year and a half? I'm not too sure. So, I would definitely want to look at something else. But for those who hold it, it's definitely been a very rewarding journey, and it could continue doing well, Lata, for the next 6-12 months. And of course, the budget will also kind of start pushing, consumption again into the micro markets, which is where Paytm will start benefiting if it gets its compliance issues in place.
DAM Capital Advisors, it had a robust debut on Friday, and even in pre-open, it's up close to about 4 to 5%. Now, considering that the other capital markets plays have seen a very strong run-up, how do the valuations of DAM Capital stack up as of today at about 430 versus the peers? And it's also much smaller in size. So should one look at DAM Capital as a capital market play?
I think it's got great pedigree, a very good order book, as an visibility of business going forward, decent margins for this kind of a competitive stream of revenue. But these are IPO, post IPO behavior is something which is always a bit misleading given low floats and the kind of interest that comes in from certain quarters. So I would believe, give it 90 days, let the price equilibrium be decided of sorts. And then you could look at it from a longer term portfolio. But the wealth managers, so DAM is a bit different because it's an intermediary which is directly involved in the capital market fundraise programs. But if you look at 361 or a Nuvama, these are amazing picks to buy from a secular 5-year perspective, given where India is headed. But again, valuations are a bit stretched because of the fancy and less supply of paper in this sector as a whole, Rima. But on dips, if you really were to add, look at one of the wealth management plays. They'll definitely be very rewarding.
Okay. Prakash, I'm just going to stretch your patience for one last talk, because it's IPO time, and Ventive Hospitality kind of caught my eye, because hospitality is, like we spoke about Trent and Paytm, the other big gainer this year has been Indian hotels. Became a 1 lakh crore market cap, and hotels generally have been going through the roof. So how would you rate Ventive Hospitality? I mean, the issue price was at 16x, which is not very expensive compared to the others in the space. Buy on listing?
If you don't have exposure to hotel as a sector, this is a good start. But unfortunately, what has happened is we've been adding a few names to the list. We have Sami Hotels, for example, and we are very excited about post 6th Jan when ITC gives you opportunity to participate in the hotel business. I think that's going to be the next Indian hotels kind of a story, given its strong portfolio and franchise. And the kind of strong balance sheet that comes along with it. Ventive is good as a brand, Lata, definitely, but I would believe the listing will probably not leave you much in terms of headroom to see any appreciation. Of course, long-term things could be very different, but in the short term, you might end up not having to make so much money if you buy on listing day, given the enthusiasm around these IPOs these days.
Okay. Prakash, it's been such a pleasure having you with us all these years,
Likewise.
all through 2024. Thank you very much for joining us. I think we should give you a 31st break at least. Have a brilliant 2025.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.